And welcome back to the Red and Gold Zone. It is time for our Keys to the Game segment. I am joined by Kylan Mills and, of course, our Red and Gold insider, Grant Cohn. Grant, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, and seems like we're just getting started. The Niners, they cannot play in Santa Clara County for a 21-day period due to local COVID protocols. They will head to State Farm to play their next two home games at the very least. Same stadium where Arizona plays. How will this affect this team?
Well, they're homeless now. It's never good to be homeless. But if there's a silver lining, they were 1-4 at Levi Stadium. They're 4-2 on the road. From a coach's perspective, it's easier to monitor your players when they're all in one boot camp-like setting. I mean, they're going to be staying in a Renaissance hotel for 3 weeks. I'm sure that the head coaches aren't too mad about it. Maybe this is what they need to go on a winning streak. As long as they stay relatively healthy, they'll be fine, because it seems like other teams are starting to get bad luck and illness along the way.
Grant, as we say in the TV biz, you are like soundbite gold. They're homeless. I mean, that pretty much sums it up. Okay, so what did last week's performance tell you about this team?
Oh, they're not dead. They're really fighting hard. They don't have all their guys, but they look like the best coached team in maybe the NFC. And if they win this game this week against the Bills, who can't they beat? I mean, they almost beat the Saints a couple of weeks ago and then committed a bunch of turnovers and basically beat themselves, but went toe-to-toe, knocked out Drew Brees. All of a sudden, this team looks hot, and they could get Jimmy Garoppolo and George Kittle back in a few weeks. They just have to stay alive, and they're alive.
All right, before we get to that Bills matchup, you talked about them having to stay alive. Let me ask you a opinionated question. Do you think they can stay alive? We know it's an uphill battle. We know what the schedule holds going forward. Do you think this team is capable of making a playoff run?
I do think they're capable. I think they have the defense. I think they have the run game and the weapons on offense when everyone's healthy. I question the offensive line. You got to question the quarterback. But if he can get the ball out of his hands quickly and just throw screen passes to Deebo Samuel and let him break 5, 6, maybe 7 tackles, it's not too hard. It's not going to come down to Nick Mullins. Basically, they got to win 4 of their next 5. Can they do it? Sure they can. In fact, I think they will, Jason. As crazy as it sounds, I think the Niners are going to make the playoffs.
Okay, so talking about some of the offensive weapons, Grant, we just learned that Brandon Ayuk has been activated off the COVID list. I mean, how big of a difference will it make to have both Deebo and Brandon Ayuk back in the lineup? We saw what a difference having Raheem Mostert and Deebo made this past week. Do you think this combination of players will make a huge difference?
I think it'll make a fantastic difference. Nick Mullins, a lot of Niner fans are disappointed with him. I think Niner fans miss having Joe Montana and Steve Young. Nick Mullins isn't that much worse than Jimmy Garoppolo. And last year, Jimmy Garoppolo had all these weapons around him, and he looked great, but really he was just distributing the ball and letting guys run after the catch. Nick Mullins can do that too. He's never played with Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel really at full strength at the same time. Now he gets them both and a run game with Raheem Mostert. There's no George Kittle, but I expect the Niners offense to look good against the Bills.
All right, you kind of walked me right into my next question, Grant. Can you give us an update on the quarterback situation? What is the status of Jimmy G's ankle? And if we don't know when he's coming back, how confident is Nick Mullins, or should I say, how confident is Kyle Shanahan in Nick Mullins remaining under center?
Well, just based on the way Kyle Shanahan calls plays, it almost seems like he has more confidence in Mullins than Garoppolo. I mean, he absolutely calls more passes down the field for Mullins than Garoppolo, but everyone knows the Niners win more with Jimmy G. That's a fact. And Kyle knows that as well. I think the idea is they're hoping Nick Mullins can keep the team afloat for maybe 3 more weeks. And then week 16 with 2 games left, Jimmy should be healthy enough to play. He didn't have to have surgery. He should be ready. And it's possible the Niners will be 7-7 with 2 games left with Jimmy Garoppolo and George Kittle coming back. That would be pretty exciting.
So what do you expect to see in this Monday Night Football matchup against the Bills from the 49ers? You mentioned staying alive, just the goal at this point.
I expect the Niners defense to have another elite performance. I expect them, I mean, they're going against a great quarterback, a guy who's got a real strong arm. He's mobile, but he's kind of like Cam Newton. The Niners have faced Cam Newton this year. They did well against Cam Newton. I think the defense is going to be fine. I think Nick Mullins is going to be fine because he can throw quick passes to Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. as long as he doesn't throw a couple of picks and special teams doesn't muff a couple of punts, I think the Niners win another close game.
All right, right before we let you go, can you tell us what's going on in the NFC West? It seems like no team wants to separate themselves from one another. Who's the best team in this division? Who wins the division?
Well, the Niners aren't going to win the division, but they might be the best team in the division, at least when they're healthy. And they haven't been healthy. The Seahawks are going to win the division. I guess they should. Maybe the Rams will. I think the team that's sinking is Arizona. They got a really good quarterback, but their head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, actually got fired from Texas Tech before he got the job with Arizona. He's an interesting offensive coordinator, but he's not a winner. And I think he's going to blow it. And I think the Niners are going to slide right into their spot. Arizona's the team to keep an eye on.
There you hear it. Arizona, keep an eye on them. Grant, thank you so much for joining us as always. There you have it. Those are our keys to the game.